the first of these Q&As, stroke. I've called it a Q&A stroke share because it's just really an opportunity at regular points just to kind of check in where we're at with our Reiki practice. And, you know, any questions that have come up. So last week we did a Reiki share, which
I missed it.
Yeah, it was so lovely, wasn't it? Sorry. Oh, Elena's here. Amazing.
I think you're muted, Mum.
You are muted, Mum. And Elena's in.
I missed the Reiki share because I was cooking.
You did.
Okay.
Okay.
I got lost in the woods. And also I thought the Reiki share was supposed to be yesterday. It was in my calendar down as yesterday.
Yes, today was meant to be in the calendar, was meant to be yesterday. And then I went away and rescheduled. Right. And because I've rescheduled, not many people are able to make it. But Elena has joined us. Amazing.
Elena.
She's sitting under her
I love your sweater, Elena.
Thank you. We got suddenly weather change. Now it's very cool, especially in my bedroom with the window open the whole night. It's kind of chilly.
But you look like you're sitting under your teleportation device there. You know?
I wish with all my heart that someday somehow we'll be able, unless you know, everything will be over soon. Yeah.
Well,
not there yet.
According to Clea, that's getting very close, isn't it? So
yes, but who knows? All these predictions being you know, wrong so many times.
You know, there's a lot about what Clea brings through that really resonates, but some of it doesn't. You know, but let's wait and see. I'm open to possibilities. Yeah, I don't know, you guys. I don't know how it is with you guys, but over here, there's definitely a sense of opening up. You know, just people generally are seeming to be a bit more kind of like open. There's just kind of more happening. Are you experiencing that where you guys are? Or how is it?
I never really noticed much anyway. I mean, because I don't go anywhere. But a friend of mine just texted me this morning and said that in Israel, they've just done away with everything, with all
restrictions.
Yeah, with everything. So he's Israeli, and he went home and he didn't have to do any testing, any expensive anything. And he wanted to let me know.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wants me to come visit or what, but I was like, okay. Doesn't really affect me, but nice to know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
and I can tell you a quick little story is that my cousin, her son got married 2 years ago during the lockdown. And it was obviously a very small wedding. And so they just on the second anniversary had a wedding for the families. And her younger sister didn't go because she's not had that. And so everybody at the wedding has had that, and then again, at least. And a third of the people ended up with COVID. And she's so glad her little sister didn't come because, of course, she would have been blamed for it all.
Well, you know, that story really highlights the fact that COVID only exists to the people that believe in it. The only people that I know that have had COVID are the people that wear masks and have had vaccinations. They're the only people
You're not allowed to move, Simon, or you freeze.
So
you're frozen.
Apparently I'm unstable. So, but that's nothing new. I'm just changing my internet source here. Can you hear me?
Awesome.
Hi. Sorry guys, Thai internet, but it should be okay now. I don't know.
528.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So the people that I know that have had this COVID thing, they wear masks and have the vaccinations, which for me just really highlights, kind of proves what we or adds further evidence to what we already know, that is what you believe in is what you experience is your reality, isn't it?
Absolutely. More than that, the more you worry about something, the more you're afraid of it. It's kind of manifest by itself,
Absolutely.
Because that's what you're focusing on.
Have any of you come across the books of Florence Scovel Shinn? Yeah. So she was writing law of attraction stuff back in the very early 20th century. And I've just fairly recently discovered there's lots of audio books of hers on YouTube, and they're fantastic. And there's one example she gives of a guy that, all his life he worries about this very rare disease, and then he ends up dying of this rare disease. But yeah, check them out. They're very good.
What's her name? Florence
Scovel Shinn. Yeah. I'll put a link in the...
Yes, please. That would be much easier.
I think that would be easier, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
They're really good. Yeah.
And I take it, Bella, they're also on audiobooks.
Yeah, they are. I've only listened to one of them. I listened to The Game of Life and How to Play It. Yeah. And it's a really good book. It's like, I'm just typing her name out in the chat so that it's spelled right.
Yes.
It's a really good book. It's kind of framed from, because it was written so long ago, it's kind of framed from like a weirdly Christian angle, but it's still really good. And like she's got a lot of interesting things to say, and like the historical context of it, I think is like mildly part of it. Like that's part of why it's so interesting.
It is, definitely. Yeah. Some of the examples are really quaint, aren't they? That she gives. Yeah.
They're quite sweet to read, really.
Yeah. So yeah, I think just before you came in, Elena, really the purpose of just getting these meetings going now is just to keep that kind of connection that we started during the course, which I know we all found really valuable, and just to keep sharing our experiences and any questions that come up. You were at the Reiki share, weren't you, last week, Elena?
Yes, I was.
It was really nice, wasn't it?
It was fantastic. It was an extremely valuable, rewarding experience. And we have to do it on a regular basis because people come and go. I mean, everyone has different arrangement, lifestyle, but just...
Yeah, sorry, I was just going to say, I'm very happy for the foreseeable future to keep this time slot on a Thursday. Whether we use that to do a share or a Q&A, or do you think that's too often, 2 of each a month? Do you think maybe one?
I don't think it's too often. If people can't make it, they can't make it.
Yeah. Are you talking about every week? Or every once a week or every other week?
Well, my initial suggestion is that every Thursday we alternate between having this kind of meeting and doing a Reiki share. So it would be 2 Reiki shares a month and 2 meetings a month. Or do you think that's too often?
Can we do every other week? Because for me, it's a little bit early.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't mean... honestly.
I
Then
think
I
I
ha-
think it's great personally because sometimes I can make it and sometimes I can't. And so, you know, if it's only once a month and it's on a week that I can't be there, then I really feel like I'm missed out. But if I can come the following week, then I don't, then then I can grab what I can grab. That's all
Okay.
I've got to say. I like that.
Okay, let's
yeah,
do it
let's
and
do
see how
this.
it goes. Sorry, Elena.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it, see how it
No,
goes.
this is okay.
Yeah. And it may be that if I find it too much, then someone else could also host, and then we could alternate the hosting as well, or something like that. The only challenge that I have at the moment is that I have an unpaid Zoom account. Does anyone know how much it is to actually upgrade it?
It's about 180 something US dollars, but I got an email with 50% off for limited time, so I grabbed it for
Oh, that's
about $90. Yeah.
that's a result. Yeah. Okay.
You could do it on Telegram.
I want to record these because these will also go into the content of the courses as well, because if we are answering questions, particularly about Reiki, they could be useful for that.
I didn't realize you can't record on Telegram.
Oh, that I don't know. I just made an assumption, actually.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So, can we start off then by going around the table and just sharing, and I'm happy to actually open this up actually, share about kind of recent current Reiki experience and any questions. So there's something that I'd like to share, which this has happened to me several times, kind of over the course of my Reiki career, let's call it, but it's getting more frequent. And it's the way that my body is really resonating in such a kind of real way with some of my clients that I almost feel like I'm taking on their suffering and processing it through myself. And this isn't really what Reiki is meant to be about. So I don't know why it's happening, whether it's because I'm able to, or it's just empathy. But I'll give you a specific example recently. So a couple of weeks ago, a very good friend of mine, who I have a very kind of strong connection with, he started getting these stomach pains and cramps, and he couldn't eat. And he was very worried. He was going to the doctor for checks and stuff because he's had bowel cancer in the past and everything. And I said to him, right, I'll start doing Reiki for you. And almost immediately, I started getting stomach pains. Now, that of itself is nothing new, actually, during the session. But this just continued, where I couldn't eat. My body forced me into a fast. And then literally, it only came to an end when he felt better. And that was like several days, maybe about 5 days or something like that. So I felt that we had become so kind of interconnected that I don't know if I was like processing that almost for him. Do you know what I mean? Or whether we were just kind of so tuned in and so resonating so much that, I was just sharing. I know in many of the shamanic traditions, the shaman, they literally do take somebody else's disease or whatever it is they're suffering with, take it from them and then process it because they're able to. So I don't know if I have inadvertently this has started to happen to me. And there are other examples, but that's just the most immediate example. So
By attunement, you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, whatever it is, I have a feeling it's most likely just your empathy kicks in that much, especially with the people you're so close to. But if it's also involves with processing somebody else's energy, Simon, you're at risk. I don't think you should you should find a way to kind of shield yourself. It's not healthy practice. We don't want to accumulate in the process too much of energy of our clients, so to say. There's a reason why medical doctors on average have a less of a lifespan than general population, because they pick up, they absorb somehow all these sufferings on themselves.
Is that what's happening, or is it because their attention is so much on disease, suffering, and death that they're actually, it's that law of attraction thing that we were just talking about before. If you're talking about, cancer and diabetes, etc., every day with people, it's like you're in the frequency of that. I'm talking about doctors now.
Yes, there is truth to that, but still, I don't know, Simon. I don't like this idea in general. To take upon yourself. I mean, you have to be at an extremely high level of vibrations to be able to, to absorb without harm to yourself, to your physical body, and who knows what else. Because it's not just physical suffering, because we know it originates in the energy field first, before manifesting.
For sure.
Yeah, at the very least, play your tools to cleanse them. Protect you. Yes.
We suck up other people's energy without knowing it all the time. I know that I remember, a job I had where I was told by my yoga teacher, Sarah, you need to wear a silk scarf around your neck. You have to envision yourself in an egg before you walk in there, because there's so many negative people that you're sucking it up, whether you want to or not. It's just because you're able to suck it up. So that's where it goes. So all I was going to say is, if you know that this is happening to you, you're a step ahead of everybody else who's walking around, carrying other people's trauma without even knowing it, first of all. And second of all, I think the doctors have a shorter lifespan because they feel guilt.
That's a good point.
Well, Sarah, thanks for your notion. Actually, I remember that we're sucking up other people's energy. However, how the energy works by the resonance. If your level of resonance is much higher, you'll be able to transmute, transform, or repel somebody else's energy.
Yes.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm wondering with me, if sometimes, because I am able to take that and transmute it, that although I'm not doing that consciously, I'm wondering if that just happens, because I am able to kind of like hold that and do that, So I'm wondering whether I hear what you're saying, and it's good advice. It really is, that I need to really protect myself well. I mean, I do all the stuff that I teach. I think what I teach is comprehensive. Maybe there's more I can do. I don't know how much sage I need to burn. I burn like half a field of sage a day as it is, yeah. Or whether this is just a new level that is starting to happen as a kind of healing practitioner. I don't know.
Maybe, but think about it, Simon. If you'll be suffering to this degree, not being able to live freely, properly, without pain, unless you heal your friend, your client. It's not sustainable practice.
No, but
Don't you think?
no, but you know, without getting too much into the kind of fantasy here, let's just say, for example, he was getting his cancer coming back and everything, because to tell the truth, his lifestyle, it wouldn't surprise me. I've also done a lot of work with him the last couple of weeks on getting his diet sorted out and everything. But maybe I was able to transmute that, because now he's okay, he's all clear. He had checkups and everything, possibly. I know a little while back, it was sometime last year, a friend of mine asked me to do treatments for his mum, and he didn't tell me what was wrong with his mum, because I generally don't like to know, particularly when I do the first session. And the first session I did, I got these agonizing pain in my right kidney. And then when I talked to his mum afterwards and my friends, it turns out she'd been diagnosed with cancer in her right kidney. And we did some sessions, and every time I did a session, this pain just came in my kidney, then it would release. And now she's free from the cancer. So I'm not suggesting that I single-handedly or single-kidneyedly, if there's such a word, kind of I'm responsible for that. But I'm wondering if there's some process that can go on within us, where us as the practitioners that are holding that higher vibration are somehow able to share and help to transmute these energies. I just wanted to bring that to the table. I don't know the answers. I just wanted
It's
to
very,
share
very
it.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I still, I keep thinking about my first attunement with you. And when you came back on, you said, how was that for you? And I was like, oh, it's fine. You know, it's fine. And you said, oh,
That's what all the women say, I'm afraid. Yeah,
No,
yeah, that was.
You said, I don't know if you remember, but you said,
Yeah.
I cried through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I felt so much grief. And like thinking about it makes me want to cry, because you took it all on for me, something I've been like holding back for probably over 20 years. And I'm so grateful, because I didn't have to acknowledge or recognize it. And it pretty much, you know, is gone. I don't think about those things. They don't come into my field anymore.
I think it's quite feasible that that's what you're doing. Like, I know that with mum and sometimes with my brothers and my partner, like there's an injury that's like a mild muscle thing. The other one will feel it. Like there's been many times where we've both had weird similar injuries, or like one of us has had an injury, and then like either the day before we tell the other one or the day we tell the other one, we'll start to feel it as well, even though nothing's happened.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't mean we transmute it and it goes away though.
No, but there's like an awareness, isn't there? There's an awareness that's unconscious. That's like a body awareness. I'm not like a mental awareness, but like you're aware of it inside your body. So
I mean, actually, we shouldn't really be surprised by any of this, should we? I mean, it's more unnatural to think that wouldn't happen. You know, again, because we've just been so kind of conditioned into this sense of separation from each other, whereas we know in reality we're all one, and we're all of the same essence and the same energy. So why wouldn't we, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, the veil is getting thinner and thinner, and our awareness is expanded. So like it's kind of natural that we start to feel other people as their pains and grief and whatnot.
Actually, actually, if we could all, you know, if even just the four of us could all do that, we could heal so many people.
Hmm.
You
What do you
know,
mean if we could just do that? Just do what exactly? Practically.
if you could transmute other people's pain.
Mhm.
Like, for example, tomorrow I'm doing Reiki on my boss. And she's got fibromyalgia, very, very severe. Like, amazing that she works. And she's lovely. She's always got a good outlook. She's always quite positive, but she's got a really tough life, and she looks after her mother. You know, if I could take away some of her pain and transmute it, that would be amazing. I don't believe I can do that, so I probably won't be able to, but that would be amazing. Maybe I should
Well,
send her
tell us
something.
how it will go
Well,
with your boss.
have you been doing Reiki?
Me?
Yes, you.
Not, yes, I did couple actually sessions. One was remote done, one was like in person, was spontaneous. I just stopped by my friend's house, and she was kind of exhausted, and I offered, and she gratefully accepted. And I did, like, I followed the classical protocol, you know, first head, and then side position, and then go down to chakra. But what was the most significantly changing her condition? The condition basically was she had a foggy mind, and kind of, you know, couldn't think clearly. This kind of what's called brain fog. That's a good expression. So only after I finally reached her feet and grounded, like consciously grounded her, she felt like all this activity, all this new, you know, fog just drained through the central channel down to earth. That was a breakthrough for her, which kind of made me think that maybe it's a good practice to start with the grounding instead of head, just to ground. That would help not only with the anxiety and brain fog and whatnot, but also with pain management as well. Because if people not grounded properly, who knows how it's so backwards, and you know, all the circuits. So that was my kind of observation. She liked it a lot, and we agreed that we'll do it on a regular basis, like in a formal way. But she's not very well organized. She's a real estater like Leo, but much less in control of her time management, and who knows how it will turn out, how regular it will be. I mean, well, anyway, that was a very interesting experience for me and for her.
Yeah, I like the idea of doing the grounding at the beginning. I can't see any reason why not to do that. I guess what could be,
except for sanitary consideration.
right? Yes, yeah. That's true. So you could put a bit more essential oil on your hand after doing the initial grounding. But did we talk about that in the course? But something that I always do is put on some essential oil before I do a Reiki treatment. Yeah, it's nice. It kind of adds.
It is nice, yeah.
Yeah, it adds to the. It's a very kind of sensual experience. A Reiki treatment is as well. Or it can be, can't it? You've got nice music on, nice lighting, you sage and Palo Santo, and then you put some nice oils on, and you've got an oil burner. And already someone's going to be feeling a lot more kind of like at ease, aren't they? I don't know if you listened to it yet, but Celine and I had a really good conversation, which I put on my channel like yesterday or something. I think it just went up. Really, really great conversation with her about the cause of disease, how, you know, what the causes are, and then how we heal them, you know. And yeah, just really just that, you know, 'cause she was sharing from her own experience how, on reflection, how before she before she was diagnosed with the cancer, how she was really she was never, not even very seldomly, she was never at ease. She was always in this state of kind of dis-ease, you know. So, because that's what we talked about, isn't it, with Reiki at Reiki level 1, is like how one of the ways that Reiki works is to bring about this kind of sense of ease, feeling of ease. Yeah. Sorry, I got off the track there. I don't know what we were talking about.
Well, it was actually logical continuation.
Was it?
I mean, how to put the person at ease.
Yes,
because
yeah.
otherwise there's also opportunity to grow disease, like manifesting in a real nasty manner.
Absolutely. I mean, many of us, well, certainly of the four of us here, we take for granted that kind of feeling of ease that you feel when you get grounded, you do some meditation, you get out into nature, you hug a tree, whatever. But a lot of people never ever experience that. And then added to that these days, you know, the kind of almost continuous engagement that so many people seem to have with their devices, you know, which are literally like sucking energy, aren't they? You know, these black things, these black mirror things that are draining energy. And so yeah, we really forget that, yeah, some people, they just never ever really experience that just deep sense of ease that Reiki brings them. Yeah. So,
anyone else?
Bella, have you been practicing? Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Not really. I've done a few things on myself, but I've been upheaved. I've been moving and just upheaved. To be honest, I haven't been that great, so I haven't really. It's been a bit weird. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. Mum knows this. We've talked about this lately, but like, I don't even have words for how I've been feeling lately. Just like brain fog is a good word for it, I guess, but like confused and just upheaved. But I have just moved and like, I don't know, but I haven't been doing it. I've been doing it on myself a bit. One night I was thinking like, I'm really tired. I need to get into bed and like go to sleep. So I did that. But I was also like, I kind of want to do some self-healings, but I don't want to do the whole thing in bed because I would like to fall asleep during it if I can, because like I don't see the harm in that. So I did it on my teddy bear that I take to bed, and sort of said, it's me. I'm the teddy bear right now. And then like do it on the bear, but I'm going to fall asleep because I really want to go to sleep. And that was quite nice and it worked. And I kind of just sort of thought like, it doesn't matter that it's a bear because it's the intention that it's going to me through the bear. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
So that's really been it. I've been doing it on the dogs though a fair bit because like they like it.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's really it.
I really like the idea of using. I've never done that for myself. I don't think I've ever really thought of it, but using something to represent myself and then give Reiki to that. And I suppose you could also, if you wanted to heal yourself, say in the past, that would be a good way to do it, you know. So this teddy bear is me age 2 or whatever, you know, and then do just something that came to me, and you know, you're saying this feeling of upheaved, upheaved, as you call it, upheaval. It could possibly be some kind of healing crisis or symptom of healing that you're experiencing.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's been up and down since since my injury. I feel like that was a healing crisis, but then I felt better for a bit, but then going through another one, I'm just tired.
Bella, I have a suggestion. You don't need to put your hands on your body for self-healing. Sorry. Sorry, Simon. Don't undermine your courses for rules. Just use your mind and command. I ask Reiki nicely. Command. I ask Reiki to flow through me during my sleep and heal whatever needs to be healed, or fill up with energy or this kind of things.
So I want to know your opinion on, like, what's the difference between a healing crisis and just a crisis? That's a silly question.
You mean like a nuclear event or a world war?
No, like just a personal crisis. Like, how do you know it's healing when you're going through crisis?
It's a really great question. No, it's a really, really good question. There's something about the quality of a healing crisis, which if you're conscious and aware enough, you can recognize it as such at the time. But definitely on hindsight, you can see how that was something that you needed to go through to come through to where you get to, which is a better place. So there's something about it where you're releasing something, you're letting go of something that you've been holding on to get to a higher, a better version of you on the other side. So from that perspective, even the common flu is a healing crisis. It's just been given a name of the flu, but it's still a healing crisis. All the symptoms of the flu are the symptoms of healing crisis. Where's your question coming from specifically? Is it like in the context of yourself? And
yeah, like, because I've been going through lots of different stuff that's really hard to put words to, and some of it's past related, some of it's present, some of it's future, and it's just like very confusing. And I've been at the same time discovering a lot of like what I would call like self-healing, like sections of knowledge, like esoteric things. And I've been kind of dibbling in and out of many of them. But like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if it's making a difference. And like, it also just seems to confuse more, because like looking at like what I could call everyday problems or like normal problems that people go through like a spiritual lens adds like another layer of complexity to figuring it out. Does that make sense?
it makes perfect sense to me. You know, when I was listening to you talk a little bit earlier, and you were talking about this feeling, this unsettled feeling that you're experiencing as well, to kind of manifesting into your physical reality as well too. That was my first reaction, was that's a healing crisis. That's what it felt like to me. That, you know, because when we do that healing work on ourselves, and you know, our external experiences, all our situations are mirroring back to us. So when you start to do that work on yourself, the situations of your life have to kind of like rearrange themselves to start to fit with who you are becoming. And I love the word dibbling. These things that you're dibbling in, yeah. But that's my sense of, you know, when you said that, that's what was happening. But then I do tend to look at the whole of life through the perspective of it being a healing journey, you know. So it's also about our lens, isn't it? You know, through which we, or, you know.
I feel like I've become aware that we all have a lens. I mean, I was aware of that when I was a child, but like the awareness of us all having our own personal lens on the world, and sort of like whether consciously or unconsciously, like dismantling my own, it's like picking a new one. Do you know what I mean? To give it a metaphor, the whole situation.
Well, I guess the most enlightened state to be in would be without any lens at all, wouldn't it? Where you're just really observing and experiencing what is without it going through any kind of filter. That would be the ultimate kind of goal.
But for that, we need to transcend our ego. We need to reach higher level of consciousness to get rid of all kind of filters and just, you know, reconnect with the spirit. That wouldn't be 3D experience anymore, don't you think?
You're probably,
anyway.
Yeah, you're probably right, but I think, yeah, you're probably right. But
Bella, I would love you to get my perspective. I think you overthinking and overanalyzing.
Everything, my whole life, Elena.
Just live your life. You're a beautiful young person. Enjoy your life. Enjoy your, you know, surroundings, the people you are communicate with. Just every you know, every day, every little steps in your routine. Just be. Don't. We're here to enjoy our life. It's just the whole system was set up to struggle, to suffer, always looking for, you know, overcome some problem, something to heal something. What if we just let it go and just enjoy and see how it unfolds for us?
And the whole system is set up to train us to think, isn't it? So that we think about everything.
Exactly. So we,
yeah, it's a good
instead
point.
of feel, instead living from the heart. Yeah, so I know it's easier to say than to do, but sometimes our thinking mind is not our friend.
Yeah.
Because it's always either in the past or in the future. What if? What happens? What should I do? What plan B, C, and so on.
Well, in the Buddhist tradition, the ego really is the mind. The mind and the ego are the same thing. So
right. So we neglected.
So in a way, we're looking to you know, ultimately to destroy our mind. You know? Yes.
I remember somebody, it was JCK video, just, how did she put it? Not fix your mind, like get rid of your mind or lose your mind, something like that. But the idea is exactly the same. Just stop thinking and live here in your heart, and life would be much easier, more profound. All right, let's get back to our discussion. Simon, before we stopped the previous part, you were about to say something, and then it just...
And you know I can't remember now. Because Bella had said something, and then you responded to that, and then there was something you said, I wanted to respond to that, and then...
What I actually said is that the placing hands or body is not necessary for self-healing. or for healing someone else, right?
Mm.
So we can use our mind to direct the energy and to ask directly what you actually would like to do, what to heal or what to clear, what to pacify, these kind of things. And you kind of jumped in with your own insight. And then
Yeah, I really can't remember. It wasn't on that particularly, because I agree with you, although I think, I think there's something in the hand positions and following that structure. But that wasn't what I wanted to say. I really can't remember.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It'll come back.
Will, if it needs to. Well, it'll come back when I watch the recording back, and then it'll be too late. Yeah. So I have, just before we continue, there's Celine left a couple of questions on the chat. So I want to address those because they were really good questions. So the first one is recommendations on a daily self-practice. I know the 21-day healing practice is in the folder. Do you recommend continuing as is or adapting? So, sorry, my throat chakra, something's just going on. So I would say to that, I mean, for the 21-day clearing, I encourage that you do the self-healing twice a day. For sure, if you can continue doing that after the 21-day process, that's going to be, optimum. But the reality of that is that may not be, practical to do that. So do the self-healing as often as you can. And as even Bella was saying earlier on, it's not necessarily always need to be a complete, 30 minutes with all the hand positions. And sometimes just taking 5 minutes out, even if you're just sitting in a chair somewhere and you can just close your eyes and do a few hand positions and bring that intention in. But also don't forget, part of the daily practice of Reiki, which I do really, really strongly recommend that you keep these up beyond the 21-day process, is the 5 principles, to recite the 5 principles. I've been doing this since I started Reiki, and I continue to do it at least twice a day. And there's often times during the day when I will kind of just come back to those. I find them a really nice kind of anchor point to come back to if I feel the need during the day, just to kind of get centered and grounded. I'll just come back to those. But definitely, if you remember, Dr. Asui's instructions are that in the evening, so in the morning, in the evening, with hands held in prayer position, recite this with your mouth and think this with your mind. That's what, and then the 5 principles to do those. So that would be my answer to that. And then other things that I would definitely recommend you add on is like the powering up that I showed you, whether you're doing treatments or not, just a really good way for general, powering up, as it says, and for protection as well. And doing some kind of meditation, visualization, where you're just really getting your roots down into the ground as well, I would say is a good daily practice to have, for sure. And then some people have their own personal kind of protection visualizations, like cloaks or being inside a golden egg or something like that. So if you've got something else, then use that. But those would be my recommendations. Do any of you three have anything to add to that? Those kind of daily practices. I think I've covered everything, haven't I? For
Yeah.
Celine. Okay. Other questions from Celine? There was a couple of other questions. When doing the hand positions in a treatment, I know they correspond with different chakras. With the 4 head positions, do some correspond more with crown or third eye? Same with the knees and the feet. Do they correspond with a root or have other qualities that can help us understand more the state of their energy system? Okay, a little bit the answer to this, Celine, is the same as the answer to Bella's previous. Don't think about it too much, I would say. Trying to really understand. These hand positions have been passed down to us, and they work. Now, why there are 4 hand positions around the head specifically, I don't know specifically, you know, for each hand position, how that relates specifically to the chakras at the head. But also the Reiki hand positions very much correlate with the endocrine systems and the major glands in the endocrine system. And I suspect that originally that the hand positions were developed more around that than the chakras. I'm not sure about that, because the chakras comes more from the Indian and the yogic tradition. So I don't know if bringing the chakras into Reiki is a more contemporary thing. I really don't know the answer to that, because having said that, the Tibetan lineage, they definitely work with the chakras as well. But so I'm wondering, with all the hand positions around the head, if it's also relating to the glands in the head. So we've got like the pineal gland, of course, the pituitary gland in the head. So yeah, any other thoughts on that?
Yes, definitely. Neuroendocrine glands are essential, and not only for brain functioning and the neural system in general. They have high functions as well that start to unfold, kind of going back to normal. So the head is important. And by the way, right here at the occipital medulla oblongata,
Yeah.
this is extremely important gland. Like I'm not sure if it's gland or just the area of the brain, but it's considered one of the, first of all, there's also a minor chakra in this area.
Yeah.
It needs some attention. But this medulla oblongata thing, or chakra, whatever you want to call it, it's also called mouth of God. This is the channel that we receive information from spirit. And some people can even visualize like mail slot that through which information kind of drops in. You know, so what I'm trying to say is that the hand's position on the head is probably the most important in the whole treatment schedule.
That's really, really interesting, Elena, because I know when I'm doing a Reiki treatment, if someone they're struggling to relax, 9 out of 10, when I get to that 3rd, 4th hand position, when my hands are just cupping the head at the back, and then particularly going into the psyche position, where one hand is across the medulla oblongata. I think that's like Portuguese for thank you. Yeah, if they haven't been relaxed before, then 9 times out of 10, they will relax during those hand positions. So yeah, I know myself when I'm doing like a hands-on Reiki position, nearly half the Reiki treatment is around the head. And I know for a lot of people, when do we ever when does someone else ever touch our head, particularly in that kind of healing way, without that touch being loaded with any other emotion or anything or any other agenda, you know? And it's so soothing to receive that. It really is, yeah.
My hairdresser practiced these hands on her head like religiously. She has a book in Polish that basically explains what is it, how to do it, and why it's important. So we have this crown spot, which exactly is the place of, what do you call it in English? When the baby are born, there's a soft spot.
Fortunella or something like that? No.
But you know what I mean, right? As we grow in age, it's called ossify. Right.
It's the soft spot where the four parts of the brain grow together.
Right. So this is the center, and I believe it corresponds with our crown chakra. So if we put the center of the palms either left or right, it's actually, it has different functions to address different health issues like blood pressure and stuff. It helps. It's when we connect these chakras, it relaxes. It's it has already by itself healing power, and you don't have to invoke any kind of specific energy, Reiki in particular, for this. It just happens naturally. Furthermore, if we put middle fingers on the spot, on the crown, and here, and the base of the palm next to ear, this position is considered to be rejuvenating, like fully balancing the whole body, probably beyond the physical body as well.
Cranial sacral.
Yeah, probably that's exactly what it is, but kind of done in self service, to say.
My hair's always there. My hair's always up here, in like right where you're talking about. There's always loads of hair there. But
I don't have that problem.
So anyway, this is legit method of self-healing beyond Reiki. But just imagine if you turn on Reiki at the same time, it probably will be amplified tremendously.
Well, that's very similar to our hand positions in Reiki, isn't it? That last one that you described. Something that I do, that I add, which I don't think I mentioned it in the course, because this is something that I just added, and it's not a traditional hand position. But after the third hand position, after the second hand position, which is this one, when I'm giving to someone else, I also cup the ears, and people seem to love that as well. So, I think we can definitely, there's room within Reiki, isn't there, to also kind of be creative and intuitively bring in our own hand positions as well. Yeah, definitely. So, Celine, I hope that answers. Has anyone else got any other kind of thoughts on that? Oh, she asked about the knees, didn't she?
Knees and the feet as well.
Yeah, now the knees, again, I don't think it's a traditional Reiki position. I can't remember when I started doing the knees, but it just, I don't know, it just feels nice. And the thing for me as a professional Reiki practitioner, when I get people coming here, they pay me for a session and they have an hour session. Now, to be really honest, I can do a Reiki treatment in 25, 30 minutes. It's plenty of time. In fact, you can do a Reiki treatment in 3 minutes because it's just intention and energy. So I also like to, in a way, pad it out so that the person's also having a physical experience as well as an energetic experience. So there's time before and after the session to talk. But so I think something like the knee position, I noticed over the years that a lot of people have problems with their knees. You know, I think people, the knees take a lot of wear and tear, don't they?
Mhm.
You know, they do a lot of work. So that's where I think for me, that's where the knee position, hand position came from. I think there are meant to be minor chakras in the knees as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely there is
yeah.
the-
But other than that, I don't know if it serves any purpose. Many people have said to me after a treatment that the best part of the treatment was having their feet held at the end. Yeah. Oh, sorry guys, not sorry, but I've just remembered another experience I wanted to share with you that just happened a couple of days ago. This one was really cool. So I was doing a treatment for a guy. He's here at the moment doing a detox, and he's weaning off cocaine. Well, hopefully he's off cocaine after having been here. But I explained to him before the session how cocaine, all these substances that we take, have a spirit energy to them. Now that can be a benevolent spirit energy and a healing spirit energy, like plant medicines like ayahuasca and magic mushrooms, you know, etc. Or they can be malevolent spirit energies that tend to be parasitic, and then they will kind of use us as a host. And I explained to him about with cocaine, something like cocaine is very much like that. And a few minutes into the Reiki session, I literally saw this energy, very dark energy, come up out of his body, out of his chest and solar plexus, and then dissipate. And at the end of the session, I hadn't even said anything to him. He told me about how near the beginning of the session, he saw all this black stuff coming up out of his body, out of his chest and his solar plexus. Yeah, so we kind of saw the same thing. Sorry, I just remembered that now. That was,
It's awesome.
yeah.
You, Reiki can do this.
It is. That's why I like to share these stories, because it's very, very exciting.
Amazing.
The potential, isn't it? Yeah. Just see if
Yeah,
Celine has
but
any more.
for that, one has to needs to help strong intention to get rid of this addiction, to expel these spirits,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
And do it
and
just
that's absolutely so true. And in the case of that treatment the other day, I said to him as we were going into the session, so I had a conversation beforehand, before the actual session started. So we just sat, we sat on a couple of chairs and had a conversation. Then he went to lie down on the bed. And then as I was kind of guiding him into the relaxation, one thing that I always do is I start off with a few deep breaths with someone. Then I'll start to use my voice to guide them into relaxation, and I'll talk about how relaxation is an absence of effort or trying, so they can't try to relax. It's more surrendering, and then I get people to set their intention. So I say to them, but the only thing that you can do really is to set an intention. And so as at the beginning, I suggested to this man that he sets the intention to let go of these spirit energies. So you're absolutely spot on, because he said to me afterwards that when I said that, he made that intention. Yeah. So without that intention, that's not going to happen for sure. Yeah. And then we need to be kind of also like you remember that Greg Braden video with the practitioners that were seeing the patient with cancer. They were seeing them as already healed. Yeah, so yeah, like you were saying, sorry.
No, I'm just speaking of cancer. Is it possible that Reiki energy can also contribute to the cancer growth? Because my niece right now is struggling with cancer treatment. It's her second round of chemotherapy and specific therapy, which doesn't work. It didn't work at all this time. In fact, the tumor increased in volume, and she resists to any kind of energetic interventions because she's afraid that the energy will not only be beneficial for the rest of the body, but also cancer will take advantage of it as well. Is it? Does it have any grounds for this concern?
I'm going to answer that, and then we should start to bring this to a close because I got another thing from Zoom saying we'd nearly finished. Sure. But that is a really interesting question. One, I would say to that with cancer, we have to stop thinking of it as something to get rid of. It's a bad thing. It's a healing crisis symptom. So that cancer is not going to go away till someone has learned, for example, whatever it is they need to learn, or made the changes to their lifestyle that they need to make, And so what Reiki can do before is actually, like if you've got a spot, before it goes away, it'll get bigger and then burst, won't it? So Reiki can actually contribute to that process of it getting bigger before it actually bursts. So it may appear that it's getting worse. Does that make sense? As a kind of healing crisis symptom.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I think that's not what your relative is actually asking, because she's thinking in a very 3D way, isn't she? That the energy.
Well, yeah, the idea is to get rid of any possible cancer cells to live happily ever after.
Yeah.
But as we all know, it doesn't work necessarily this way, and you have to find and clear the underlying reasons for cancer to be manifested. Right. And she's not there yet.
No.
Maybe she has such a faith into chemotherapy, medicine protocols that she just, no, I'll be fine.
Right. So to think of Reiki from a 3D perspective is like this power that's being zapped at you that's going to zap out the evil cancer or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. As we all know, is not the way that Reiki works. Reiki is the mental, emotional, spiritual healing behind the cause of the cancer. But before that cancer gets better, if it's going to get better, there could be even, let's say, like an inflammation or a kind of a coming to the head, of those symptoms, So that would be kind of my thoughts on that. Anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for your insight.
Yeah. And of course, I guess it's also, again, another change of perspective to see physical death as the worst thing that can happen. That's going to put you in a state of fear, isn't it? Where with something like that, and I think that the medical doctors milk that, don't they? Whereas if you look at something like cancer as a healing process on a much bigger scale of the soul's journey, it's a very different perspective. I think we talked about that right at the beginning with Reiki level 1, that we should not see death as a failure, you know, as from the perspective of being like Reiki practitioners, you know. Yeah. So that's a really happy note to end this conversation. Has anyone got a happier note to end this on? Or anything else they want to add?
Well, I was just said there is no death, it's just a transition, so nothing to worry about. Except for the mothers of 6 children who really struggle. But I don't know. My sister, who's the mother of the person that I was talking about, she's a very powerful healer herself. She's a very advanced in her psychic skills, telepathy, and this kind of things. And yet, after the original shock that that happened to my family, no way, how it can be. So maybe it's for her journey also for herself, not just for her daughter, to overcome this ego shackles.
Yeah, that's a really good insight, yeah. And kind of brings us full circle in the conversation that, you know, that kind of, we're all interconnected as well, you know, and particularly with the ones that we're close with. So yeah, it's quite likely that there's something in her cancer and her suffering that could be also connected to. And that's when we get into like healing relationships within our family and everything as well, as part of our own healing. It's so, in fact, Elena, I don't know if you saw it, but Mel just put out a video today and she referenced a conversation that you and I just had about that, about healing, you know, the relationship, particularly with mother. Yeah.
I didn't see this video yet.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's a really good one. Yeah. So, shall we, has anyone got anything else that they want to add? No? Okay. So
it was a fruitful session. Thank you, everyone. It was delightful.
Absolutely delightful, you know, and I just feel like we're sitting in the living room together with a pot of tea and some digestive biscuits having a chat about Reiki. So. No, healthy. We could make some nice healthy ones.
I'm happy with biscuits.
Hey?
I'm happy with normal biscuits.
Well, I like ginger ones, ginger crunchy biscuits.
Oh, yeah,
are nice.
That's pretty
good. Yeah.
I like chocolate chip.
Yeah. You just got to have something to dunk in your tea, haven't you? That's it, really. Yeah. Okay. So I'll get scheduling for. Well, let's do a weekly sessions, alternate between a chat and a Reiki share, and see how that goes. Okay.
So next week we're doing a Reiki share, correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
If you want, I can host it next time, so you don't have to make payment.
That's great. Yeah, that would be really much appreciated. Yeah. Sure. So if you could send us all a link for that, that'd be great. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
I'll see you next week then.
Yeah. Stay well.
Thank you.
See you.
Namaste.
Bye.
Namaste.